Info 99.3 is how you can watch, and would like to hear from you. Your thoughts about some of the stories that we have for you this morning. So, as you watch, you can drop your comments there. I would try as much as possible to take as many as possible out of the comments that we have. Nigeria Info 99.3 on Facebook and on YouTube. Let's start with the Vanguard newspaper, page 9. Tinubu approves mouth-watering allowances, bulletproof SUVs for retired generals.
Okay, it's quite interesting because before we came on, my twin brother approves of all this, and I have my reservation. So brace yourselves for an argument that might come up any time from now. But let's first of all find out what the story is all about. It says, following the signing of the new terms and conditions of the service of the armed forces, the president has approved mouth-watering allowances for officers of general rank who will retire after serving 35 years in service. This is for the military. Okay, some of the allowances include provision of a bulletproof SUV as take-home gift. So it's a one-off take-home gift, bulletproof SUV, fully paid foreign medical treatment. Why? Let me just read it first. Fully paid foreign medical treatment, and another $20,000 as Esther code while embarking on the medical trip, and payments for cooks and house helps. This came as retired military personnel yesterday, that's the other ranks, barricaded the entrance to the Ministry of Finance in Abuja with canopies and chairs demanding full payment of their long overdue entitlements. You know that I'm in the forefront of the battle for 4 of our own old soldiers, and I'd like to commend Honorable Jimi Benson. I hope I got that right. Yes, he has intervened in their own case, and let's see how far. Indeed, I was able to speak to the chairman of the pensions board of the military. So let's see what happens. But there are 40 others like them who have the same plight. These ones fought in the Civil War. Their ages range from 75 to almost 80. And knowing Nigerians and playing with ages, some of them are probably about 80. But that's not the issue here. This came as harmonized terms and conditions of service for officers and enlisted personnel in the armed forces, which had been in the works since the tenure of President Buhari was signed by President Tinubu on December 14, 2024. Now, starting with the top brass of the military, it provides the Chief of Defense Staff, Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Naval Staff, Chief of Air Staff, and other senior officers are entitled to a bulletproof SUV or its equivalent as retirement package. The vehicle and the backup vehicle are to be replaced every 4 years and maintained by the armed forces. Every 4 years, they get a brand new. Vanguard gathered that the lieutenant generals and their equivalents will be entitled to foreign medical treatments and $20,000 annually, with that of the CDS expected to be higher. The generals will also be entitled to a special assistant or personal assistant, 3 military drivers, and a military orderly with escorts provided by individual military units. Each retiring service chief is also entitled to 5 domestic staff, 5, comprising 2 cooks. Okay, 2 cooks, 2 stewards, and a civilian gardener, along with an ADC security officer. The document reads that the following benefits shall be applicable. 1 bulletproof. Okay, so they are virtually repeating everything. Part of it also is that they will retain all military uniforms and equipment to be worn for appropriate ceremonies. 5 domestic aids, 2. Okay, they're just repeating what you have. So, essentially, first of all, my first reaction is, do we not have an overkill here? Buying a bulletproof SUV. A bulletproof SUV now, can somebody please quickly tell us how much it would cost? But I'm thinking something in today's money will be well over 100 million.
100 million.
Yes, for a bullet.
I'm even thinking upwards of 500
million.
Yes. With the current exchange rate right
now.
I don't know.
No, Nigeria has turned my brain into a Tokumbo brain. So I'm thinking, and I'm going to correct it, but the Nigerian condition has turned my. I'm serious, because what I have in my head are Tokumbo prices.
No.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. I think that given the circumstances, it might be a bit, not a bit, I think is an overkill. I would have thought that you would say you will just pick up their medical bill, and if there is a need, which you really don't need to state, if there is a need for them to go abroad, but to then state it, then who wouldn't want to go abroad for treatment when it's going along with a $20,000, what do you call it? I think it's a bit of an overkill. That's one. Two, when we are doing things like this, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. Somebody should tell us, what would the Inspector General get? What would the head of customs, immigration, what would they get? When we now leave that era, we now move to other areas. What do the doctors get? Okay, because right now we take care of the judges so well, we take care of the military so well. These two areas are important for the survival of any president in power, to be very honest with you. They're very, very crucial. What about the important one of education? What about the important one of health? Yesterday, there was a doctor on this program, on this station, talking about JAPA and all these things. What are we going to do to enhance our people, our doctors, to stay here and treat our people? And so what is good for the goose is good for the gander. I mean, to become a general in the military is not a human's job. It's not. I understand what it entails. But I'd also like to see this package as it concerns the privates, the sergeants, the WO2s, those who, for example, who would be in the thick of the battle. What are we doing for them? So for me, my reaction is that until I see this thing replicated across the line, until we know, until we say to ourselves, there are also other important areas that we need to enhance, and not just isolate the military and the judiciary, which of course is the politician's delight. My thinking, as I'm a very cynical person. I have no apologies for that. That's where I'm wired. That's why I'm an analyst. My thinking is that every politician wants to take care of the military and the judiciary. If you get what I'm saying. If you don't get it, I'm sorry. I can't help you. But what about those that are also important, especially in the area of education, in the area of health? What retirement package are you going to give to our teachers? Do you want all of us to go to the military? What about us, Sheriff? What pension are you going to give? What about us? Yes, now. Yamaoga, what pension are you going to give me?
you are busy.
I'm already a pensioner already.
Yes.
I'm a Jimi. But you said you supported this in total. Is that what you said?
Yes, absolutely, completely, 100%.
100%.
Maybe 150%.
Okay, I like that. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, because I feel that. First, I would like to ask questions whether they've been getting this before now, or this is just new. If they've been getting this before now,
yes,
then this is just a media exercise for the present government, and I won't be surprised. But if they haven't, it's high time. We should have started, treating our military. We should be carrying our national troops to the war front to go and perform for the military. We should be carrying our comedians, influencers to entertain the military, because these people literally put their lives on the line.
Yes, but excuse me, these are for the generals.
Yes, it's still the military.
Now, is it
the reason is that
is it replicated down the line? That's what I'm saying.
So I'm going to get there. I will get there. Reason being that if the subordinates, the lower rank military officers, can see this, it motivates them that their future is guaranteed.
Are you kidding?
That their retirement is secure.
If it is not replicated down the line, it won't motivate them.
So where I'm going with this is that they know that they are not just, they're fighting, their struggle, their sacrifice is not going to be futile. Even if they don't get to make it to the general rank, that they're going to
if
be
it
treated
is not
well.
replicated down the line, if a private cannot get something, maybe not as close to this, yes, but if in today, in 2020, 2024, you still have people who fought in the Civil War and they cannot get ordinary 40 to 50,000, that is their pension. So what are we talking about?
So this is this is where I'm going. Like I said, I am going to get there. First and foremost is that this would motivate them. Then secondly is that the government, if they are not already taking care of people that have retired in the military, like we know that they haven't been doing well in that regard, then they now need to do well. That doesn't mean that this should be outrightly condemned. No.
Excuse me.
If they've not been doing what they're supposed to do with the lower rank officers, then we need to start doing that right now.
Excuse me. In the same story, I'm enjoying this. In the same story, it says retired military personnel block finance ministry over unpaid, and it says, meanwhile, retired military personnel yesterday barricaded the entrance to the Ministry of the Finance with canopies and chairs, demanding full payment of their long overdue entitlements.
And that is wrong.
Your argument would hold water if it goes down the line. But this story, it says generals.
Yes, because
to be fair, the people who are in the heat of the battle are not necessarily the generals.
It's almost like saying that the coaches should not get paid because the players are the ones doing the game. The generals are also working.
Okay, in football, who is paid more?
The players, of course. Yes, the players.
That's what we are saying. So the other rank should be paid more.
No, so in
that example is bad.
No, what I'm saying is that it doesn't negate the benefit that the generals should take. Now, I'm going somewhere with the fact that if we were in the military regime, the generals equal to the president. So why shouldn't the generals be taken care of? The colonels equal to the governors. Why shouldn't they be taken care of? Because they've paid their dues. The fact that they are not fighting Boko Haram right now doesn't mean
why shouldn't the teacher be taken
and the doctor? I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
So what's
that the teachers should be taken care of, the doctors should be taken care of, our health sectors, our hospitals, our schools, everything should be taken care of.
My argument is that this is out of sync with what applies to other sectors.
I think it's bit by bit. Whatever we can do.
Which also includes the police giving this kind of, they face the same whatever.
I agree. And I'd like to know what the law says about the retirement benefits for a commissioner of police, for instance. I'd like to know, because from this story that you read earlier, this were statutory provisions, for retired generals and all of that. Yeah, because it's law, they can take it. But what does the law say about retirement for commissioners of police?
Sheriff,
sir,
this is a bit out of sync. I like your argument, and I appreciate what generals do. Don't get me wrong. I have nothing against generals, but what I'm saying is that there are also there are other sectors too that should be paid equal attention.
I agree.
A professor that has produced, or a doctor that has saved many lives is just as important.
A professor that has written so many books,
produced so many graduates.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. Totally agree.
Okay, we have to agree. Man.
Totally agree.
So I buy you coffee. No, you buy me coffee. If you want to go by the story of the Okete.
Okete, have we?
You buy me coffee.
Let's move on, Lagos.
But sorry, one question is I'm going to get somebody on Tuesday to go through this.
I thought we're doing what's it called on Tuesday? The teachers stuff.
Which teachers?
The schools stuff.
Which school stuff? I forgot.
That Ali Balogun that we read yesterday.
We'll shift that one to Thursday. I forgot. Okay.
Now let's go to the business page of the Vanguard newspaper, page 19. More than 7 million registered electricity customers yet to be metered. NEC.
This is scandalous.
7 million.
In all honesty, I had always wondered how we run our electricity business, where you'll be told that you are giving estimated billing. I've always wondered what kind of business sense that makes. And I'm surprised to discover that more than 7 million registered electricity customers are not metered. So what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
We've been faffing around. And it says that metering and billing accounted for 63% of customers' complaints. Once you don't have a meter, it becomes a contentious issue. How do you know what you are paying? How do you know what you are consuming? And the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission said, disclosed in its third quarter report, which showed that it has all these figures, but 46% of customers out of registered customers across the nations have been metered. Only 46%. We've been running a scandal. And so how is it estimated you live in a duplex, whether you live there alone or you live with a family of 15? It's the same analysis that, that your whatever your bill is predicated on. And I don't think that is right. What is the problem with the electricity companies? They need to tell us why we cannot get metered. I just don't get it.
After all these years.
After all, we are going to pay for the meter anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, so I'm not. Nobody will blame me for being inclined to think that it's a deliberate attempt to defraud the customers. Why wouldn't you want to give a meter? I think it's a deliberate attempt. So that's what we have here. This is the figure that we have here, and it breaks down all the figures. Eco district received the highest number of complaints. Yola Disco received the least number of complaints. Benin, I know that Benin is a bit contentious. Even the governor had to step in at some point. It also talks about Enugu Disco recorded a decrease in the number of customer complaints within that particular.
Virtually all the discos are guilty of.
All of them are guilty. My take is that in the privatization exercise, we got it completely wrong. I know one or two of those discos personally. Those who bidded for it had no experience whatsoever. Yes, I know one particularly had virtually no experience and saw it as a business venture. So no experience and no commitment. You need those two in the service industry to get by. You must have that commitment. And for them, it's just for this, and for these particular ones, it's just a business venture. Let's go and see how much money we can make. And that's why we are where we are today. Some people are of the view, including Adams, Senator Shemole, are of the view that maybe the government should buy these things back from them. But I'd rather not. I think what they probably need to do is set parameters that will close at a particular time, and once they don't meet those parameters, the whatever should be withdrawn, and then sold to those who are capable of doing this business. That's what happens all the time. I remember, and usually this is what takes place, Sheriff. During privatization exercise, when things like this are going to happen, the prospective buyers are looking out for the assets of the company. It happened in the case of one famous newspaper, and it is believed by people like me that the newspaper had a lot of assets that ordinary people wouldn't even know about, houses in Ikoyi and so on and so forth. So big investments in other properties and so on that wasn't quite clear to the public. And lo and behold, that was what was targeted. So to now get the full commitment running is being done now just to fulfill our righteousness. And so the privatization exercise was completely flawed in very many areas. And it is sad. It's very, very sad. But we shall see.
Yes, we shall. Let's go take this story here. It's a column by Aria Febabalola. It's called On You. This particular piece reads, "A New Dawn for Nigeria, the New Year Address of President Tinubu."
Okay, I mean, it's for his age, it's quite amazing that Chief Febabalola finds time to write this column weekly. And he believes that the president's speech, which some people have been critical about, it presents a new dawn for Nigeria, and I thought that I should bring it to just to provide some balance. For example, it says here, I want to commend the president for these prospects for 2025. The prospects include, the president has said, boosting food production, promotion of local manufacturing of essential drugs and medical supplies, reduction of, this is a contentious one, reduction of inflation from 34.6 to 15%. I don't know how that's going to happen. Facilitating increased access to credit facilities, establishment of the National Values Charter. That is another contentious one, because when you talk about values, anyway, let's leave the political class out of this. He also says commencement of the operation of the Youth Confab, which also we are watching to see whether it will be something put together just to provide support for the regime, rather than a confab that will allow our young people express themselves in full. Alternative fuel for transportation. And he says that he wants to commend the president for this process for 2025. He says that he believes that many Nigerians would have longed for the modalities to achieve many of the lofty and well-meaning ideas in the new address of His Excellency. However, I believe this is where the well-meaning Nigerians can contribute to the future of the country. And he has his own recommendations. I think it's something you need to read, at least to balance up a lot of the criticism that you had with the president's speech. But he concludes by saying that I believe, he says there was a time when hunger and poverty were unknown in Nigeria. But he goes on to say, I believe that Nigeria can return to this time of high wealth and moral values. However, this can only be achieved if we cooperate with the government to birth the change we desire to see in our beloved country. He forgot to add that the government needs to take the lead to get our support. Okay, and that is doing things by example. I think he probably wanted to add that, but there wasn't enough space. But it's worth reading. It's on page 22 of the Vanguard, and it says Are Afe Babalola. And it says, Happy New Year to Nigerians.
Happy New Year to you too, Are. Now let's go to the page, The Guardian, page 3. The story says, Japa Eba Agbiru. Other Nigerian words. Enter Oxford Dictionary.
Yeah, so for the people who think that you must speak correct English and so on and so forth, I was amazed that this story talked in The Guardian. And it says that the following words have gone into the Oxford Dictionary. Can you believe that? Japa is one word. It's gone to the dictionary. Eba and Agbiru. It says, the story says here that the new words reflects the everyday life of an average Nigerian and the exciting street mannerisms and pidgin English, which are fast gaining acceptability across Africa and beyond. And reflecting ethnic nationalities as well as demographics, the new entries also highlight Nigeria's cultural diversity. What are the words that you find in the Oxford Dictionary? Chakpa, 419, Agbiru, Abi, area boy, Yahoo, Edo, Kanuri, Jand, cross carpet, Kobo, Niger, and Suya. What the Oxford Dictionary need to add again? I remember Dubi and I met some Ugandan ladies one time at a park in the UK, and they said to us, "What does Nibolowa mean?" I said, so I asked the Ugandan babes, I said, what do you say? Every time we see Nigerians, say, Nibolowa, 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 Nibolowa. Dear me.
All right, let's go pick up. Do we have time?
Do we have time?
I think we do. We can take this. We can take this story.
Okay.
Can take this story. Ibadan Stampede, courts to rule on bail request of Oni's ex-wife, others, January 13, The Guardian.
Again, you know my feelings about this. And it's sad that they will still now have to wait all the way till January 13th before the court will decide whether they be granted bail or not. I'm not too sure whether I'm allowed to give an opinion on this, but I do find it very, very worrying, because the implication and I hope everybody would note this, is that it could have been anybody. You could have organized an inter-house sports, you could have organized a prayer session, and it could go the way this one did, and see where you would find yourself. They've been in incarceration for close to 1 month.
Yeah.
Yet we can't even, we are not too sure whether they even have a case to answer legally. And we are not likely to get to the root because we've lost that momentum when we could have had the public hearing. But they have to wait till it is important to also know that the State Council opposed bail for them. But that is what happens in the courts. I don't know. In some cases, he might not have to. But I was surprised that he opposed bail for them. This is just to alert you. You need to be very, very careful in this country. Be extremely careful. The word is enough for the wise.
Indeed. Indeed, it is. Well, this is where we'll wrap it up today. So
Today's Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday.
In case you don't know.
Yeah. Today's Wednesday. I do.
The way I'm looking at you, you'll soon go and join the military.
If they dash me to the military, they will reject me.
If not for my age, my life, I'm better.
They will reject me. When you fit.
Fit
Me fit.
But Babale, anyway, leave that one.
Leave that one. What kind of battery?
Let me just go.
Avalefo.
Leave that one.
Who is our guest at 9 o'clock?
Mrs. Kuyoro, she's the wife of that man.
Uncle.
She's coming for Diabomi at 9 o'clock.
All right, that's beautiful.
Yeah, Baba.
Yeah. All right. Let's call it a day now. Thank you so much, boy. He's back at 9 o'clock for Diabomi. Yeah. Let's give you back to Kofi Bartels here on the Morning Crossfire, Nigeria Info 99.3. Good morning to you.
.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.